For my YouTube video analysis, I chose a video titled Aquatic Macroinvertebrates, posted by the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation. And in this video, we see a student conservation member giving a talk in a tributary about freshwater macroinvertebrates. The speaker, Chelsea Moore, begins describing how she is about to catch invertebrates with her dip net to collect a random sample of them in the river to check the quality of the water. A big argument I find in this video is the examples she grabbed that she tries to show and test you on aren't as good of quality. So after she talks about like the original sample, which is called a full stream sample, and how she pulls out the macroinvertebrates from it, she goes on to show you some of them up close and begins to do like a little on-screen quiz about the species. The problem with that, though, is in the image she chooses right here, she gives you a few seconds to figure it out. Based on how it looks and the few snippets you can quickly see, it has two tails. So, based on that factor, which is its most defining factor, besides its little tendrils on its body side, you might think it's a stonefly if you're new at this. But if you look closely, it's actually not a stonefly. It ends up being a mayfly, which is known for three tails. She just happened to get a poor sample, and instead of doing, say, the stonefly she has in the sample as the quiz question. One of the main ways you can tell that this was a mayfly is the tendrils on the side of its body. And if you look at the shape of its abdomen, is very rounded and almost, I could consider it like crayfish shaped. Where if we look at the stonefly, which we'll see in a minute, it is very more jagged, and its abdomen plates are, I would consider, crescent moon shaped rather than being fully rounded. But the stonefly doesn't really have any tendrils on the side of its body, um, and it has bright light colored markings that you can easily see through, where on the nymph larvae she happened to choose, it was very dark in coloring, kind of far away the light you can see reflected on him funny, almost like there's a flash on the tail, so you don't really get a good quality view, and his tail's not in frame for most of the 5 seconds you're allowed to guess, so you're really not getting much to work with. And so this is a big issue to me, because how are you supposed to, first of all, they're not even teaching you how to guess these, but they expect you to guess for it just by looking at it. But how are you supposed to do that if they don't even give you the full image of the sample to guess the sample? Um, Another issue I have with this video is the whole point of it is water quality. She mentions that they're collecting them for water quality. They want to test the water quality, and by collecting them, they can see a general like census of what the water quality is. But then she never goes into it. She doesn't tell you how they show you what the water quality is, what the water quality indicators are per each species that we are shown, and she just puts them back. She never actually gives us any information about that. Um, so I will. So a stonefly is a good indicator for water quality because they're not tolerant of pollution. Um, so if you do see them, you do know it is good to well water quality. Same thing with the mayflies that we see right here. They are sensitive to pollutants and cannot and will not tolerate living in poor quality water. So if you see them, you have a pretty good inkling this water it's a pretty good quality. There's a lot of dissolved oxygen, there's nitrates. And the caddisfly, we see one without his little casing, and then we physically end up seeing one with his little casing. This one happened to choose stones just from the stream it was in. They are also sensitive to pollutants and are a good indicator of if the water quality is also well. We also happen to see a couple indicators of they can live in any kind of quality, like meh quality to living in um, pretty much trash water, and that is the black fly larva, and then a little bit, and you can kind of see it right behind the word caddisfly. There's actually a mosquito larvae living right there, and they can live in any type of scummy water. But because we do see the indicators of good water quality, Those other macroinvertebrates don't really matter because the water's clearly not poor quality. It's pretty decent quality if the other ones are living in it. Ultimately, I do think it's a good video. There's pretty up close footage of the macroinvertebrates to the point where you can literally see its eyes and the details in its mouthpieces, which is really cool because they are really small. When you look at them in the field, you don't really have a microscope or anything, so you're just looking at them with your normal eye. You can't get all that detail you want. So it's a cool video to see a bunch of the detail in it. Um, but because it's supposed to be like an intro educational video, I think there could have been more information put into it. Instead of being a 3-minute video, it could have ended up being 5 minutes if you just added a tiny bit more, and it would have added way more quality to the video.